like sustainability has been hijacked by people who can unfortunately afford to care about sustainability. Amarijasz, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about sustainability versus fast fashion. If you're interested, keep watching. Don't forget to like, comment down below, and yeah, I feel like everyone, regardless if they're a part of fashion or not, has constantly seen this argument: sustainability versus fast fashion. I feel like there's been this debate between two sides within the fashion industry that started off as like this small little conversation that's becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And I feel like now it has become beyond, oh, we want a green universe, we want a green planet, we want to make fashion more green. I feel like now it is becoming the same vibe of you need to tip your waiters, That's how it's becoming now. And I just thought like it would be fun to make a video out of it. So yeah, so I'm gonna break it down, talking about sustainable fashion, what it is, where it started, why is it becoming so popularized, and I'm gonna do the same for fast fashion. Okay, so first thing, what is sustainable fashion? Essentially, sustainable fashion boils down to one, manufacturers having better work environments for their employees, right? And paying them a livable wage and having them work in conditions that are safe and that are comfortable for them to do their work, and not exploiting them and using them because they live in poverty, right? And the second part is basically, instead of creating fresh new products, fresh new materials for a trend that's going to be here today and gone tomorrow, a lot of the sustainable people activists believe, why don't you just use the past trends, old clothes that's in landfills, that's all the way to the sky, use those cloths or use those fabrics and make a new thing, right? That's what it essentially boils down to. And I feel like for the average person, that doesn't sound wrong. Of course, everyone wants a greener earth. Of course, everyone can see that day by day, years by years, our Earth's ecosystem is basically like going downhill year after year after year, right? And everyone is noticing that, and people basically just want to see fashion industry take responsibility for their impact on the earth and make a change. And I feel like just on a surface level, people, if they saw that, they would subscribe to that, they would like that, they would sign a petition for that. I feel like on paper that is fine. Okay, so now I want to talk about, why are we suddenly hearing the word sustainability so much? Why is it becoming such a buzzword? And I feel like TikTok, and I feel like so many people who have been working in these horrible conditions have just got tired of it. And I feel like a lot of people are just exposing these giant fashion companies and how cruel they are when it comes to making their clothes, and where it starts and the ending of it. Like, the ending may be this beautiful, cute little trendy top, and no one really took to see what it looked like in the beginning, right? And I feel like this is not nothing new. We've seen this with veganism, where people exposing what it's really like for people making like what the cheeseburger looked like before it gets to a finally perfectly cute commercial, you know? So I feel like I feel like it was inevitable for anything that was being done in the dark to come to the light. And if it's, especially if fashion is being this person who's been responsible for all the damages that have been caused to the earth, it was inevitable for it to be exposed. But I feel like so many videos have just been coming out of the blue of this company and their work conditions, this manufacturer, this brand, to where it's becoming hard to sweep it under the rug, you know? And I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. I feel like it was gonna happen regardless. But I think that, and I feel like another reason why people are starting to become more aware of, or not more aware, I feel like the reason why people are becoming more upset about it is because I feel like a lot of people don't know, and I feel like a lot of people have this false idea of what they think is a process of their garment. They're probably thinking, oh, everyone's working in a nice designer studio in Paris and they're perfectly cutting up this material and sewing it down. They're getting paid a beautiful 60s or 70, $80,000 salary as a seamstress and everything, but that's not what it is. And I feel like it's making a lot of people uncomfortable seeing that, which is good, to be honest, because the point is to be uncomfortable to do something about it. Be uncomfortable, announce it. Be uncomfortable, repost it. Uncomfortable, expose it. So it doesn't have to be a continuous thing. And I feel like another reason why it's becoming more popular is because so many scientists, so many people, environmentalists have just exposed fashion's involvement, how they are really the number one or one of the top people who are responsible for so much waste, for so much landfills, and how every year it's a new trend, whether it's Y2K or this trend or that trend, 90s fashion. It comes and it goes, and no one sees where it ends up. It ends up in the Goodwill maybe after 6 months. It ends up but where after the Goodwill? The Goodwill goes to the landfill, and the landfill eventually goes into the ocean or goes to a poverty country who can't get rid of it, who can't afford to get rid of waste, right? And I feel like a lot of people, a lot of consumers, or just people in general who don't know nothing about sustainability, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. It no longer affects me. It's no longer in my orbit. Once I threw that outfit away, I have no concern about where it ends up and if it affects me. If it's not a direct, involvement in my life, it has no effect. And I feel like that's everyone's philosophy on everything, unless it's something that they care about. Now I want to talk about why is sustainability getting so much backlash within the fashion industry? Why is people tooting their nose up? Why are people getting upset by the idea of a greener earth, about recycling products, about recycling materials, and still maintaining the we're still maintaining the supply and the need for whatever they're producing, right? I feel like the reason why people are so upset within the fashion industry, one, no one in the world wants their dirty laundry air dry. No one wants to be exposed and have their business on Front Street that they're the number one contributors to why there's so much waste, why the Earth's ecosystem is plummeting, right? No one wants to do that. That's number one. And if someone has hidden something, they're hidden it for a reason. And another thing that I want to mention, I feel like the reason why people within the fashion industry are getting some kickback with the whole sustainability is because what these sustainability activists are asking of these people is to change their whole system of how they make clothes. And if the only reasoning for that is for a, hate to be rude, but better earth, better ecosystem, that's not going to be enough. I feel like if it's not about making the money, if it's not about some way that's the reason why they are going to China. That's the reason why they're going to these other countries for cheaper manufacturing costs. I feel like if that was a priority for them, this wouldn't even have been an issue to begin with. So to try to expect them to change their whole system of making clothes for their greater good, for the this, that's not, I feel like that's not a priority for them. That's not a main focus, and that's not something that they care about, to be honest. And I feel like for another reason why sustainable people are getting a kickback from the people in the fashion industry is because when people are buying, let's say a bag, when people are buying a Birkin bag, when people are buying whatever, a luxury bag that costs millions of dollars, they're buying it for two reasons: for status and for quality. If they're buying a bag and it's plant-based, it's non-leather, it's recycled material, then it's not going to give the same vibe and the same aesthetic and aura that they were going for. They're going for luxe, they're going for classy, they're going for they're going for elegant. In a paper bag that has a little green recycled sticker on it, it's not the vibe and not the moment and not the look that they're trying to go for. And again, that type of person who is buying a Hermes Birkin bag and buying whatever high dollar bag don't really give a, about a poor person in XYZ country. I feel like, again, go back to what I said, people can like it and appreciate it from afar and, wow, that's so sad. But will I change my whole philosophy? Will I change my whole reasoning for shopping and my whole psychology and buying a bag for so-and-so in so-and-so country? Absolutely not. Will I walk around with a bag that will crumble in 2 seconds because it's better for the earth, but now I have a cheap bag that don't last? Same thing with the whole animal fur argument. The reason why they're buying the animal fur for the quality, so it will last, so it's good. They don't want to replace that with a cheap bag that will deteriorate in 20 years. Yeah, they may gonna throw the bag away, but they just want to know that I have. The whole point is I have a real one and I treat it like trash. I have a quality and I treat it like trash. Not I actually have trash and treat it like, that's not the point. That's not the reason why these people are shopping. And I want to talk about some sustainable brands and sustainable influencers who have been pushing really hard to make this something widely accepted instead of more a niche market. And that is Lauren Singer, B. Johnson, Pantry, Pactory. And I also want to mention like thrift stores and things like that. I feel like that is also like a soft approach to someone who may want to be a part of the whole sustainable thing, but they can't afford to spend like twice the amount that you would spend on a fast fashion piece on a sustainable for the greater good, right? So now another sector of this sustainable fashion I want to talk about is, why is it getting so much backlash on Instagram, on social media, and just period? Because on paper, why would anyone be against a better earth, a cleaner environment? And I feel like sustainability has been hijacked by people who can unfortunately afford to care about sustainability. People who can afford to care about a greener earth and a greener life and actually implement that and change their whole lifestyle to accommodate to that. And I'll say this: if you are an average American living in an average city, if your basic needs aren't met, if you don't have clothes, you don't have shoes, you don't have money, you're not paying your bills on time, all of this stuff, and you're not whatever. Basically, fast fashion is catered to the average Joe who can only spend $5. They haven't gotten to the point where their career is good, where their this is good, to where they can start worrying about a philosophical things and they haven't even got their basic thing yet. So they can't even worry about that type of thing. And in regards to it being hijacked, I feel like now it has become, again, which it always has become, but I feel like now it's only sustainable. It's only if it's a designer piece. It's gone beyond, the manufacturing needs to be whatever, be the minimalistic, I just care about the earth, and I feel like it's been hijacked by I don't even want to say hype beast, but it's been hijacked by the fashion wannabe, the thrift gods, and all these people. So it's like, now I'm going to bash you, I'm going to belittle you because you're wearing Shein, because you're and they blanket it and they use that excuse because, these people are being whatever, and these people who are making your clothes are in a sweatshop and they're this and this, that, and they use that as a con, but really it's just a ploy, just to belittle people who can afford to shop at, what is it called? I don't even know that store. Not even Bedford Goodman. It's another store. It's another high-end, whatever, thrifting boutique. So it's like, now it's just something just to make fun of somebody about. The same thing with the whole vegan argument. Like before it was about, it's better for your health. Then it becomes why are you eating that? I mean, the reality is they can't afford. Yeah, it's wrong. Yeah, but today, right now, in their present day life, they can't afford that. So the only thing they can afford when they're shopping, if they want to get some good pieces, is a Goodwill shirt. Not a Goodwill. It's a Shein shirt for $2. is a Shein necklace, is a Shein this, and if that makes them feel good and they can keep going with their life, and eventually when they get to a point where they can spend $20 on an old recycled shirt that ain't gonna last 2 seconds, maybe then they'll have money to blow. But if they're trying to just get a cute shirt and still fit into society and whatever, that's what they're gonna have to spend to. And I feel like I just hate how now it's become, the argument has been flipped from the manufacturers to now flipped again on the consumers, and again has been, you know, manipulated and flipped and reversed on you, and they still get away with whatever they're doing. Okay, so now we're going to talk about fast fashion. Who is she? Why is her name bustling everywhere? Why do we constantly hear her? So essentially, fast fashion is just producing clothes cheaply, and their lifespan is really short, right? The clothes are made probably for $1 US. They're flipped and sold for $20. They don't last more than a season in fashion. In a year or two or even 6 months, they are old, that is out of style, and they're deep down in a landfill somewhere. That is just a general kind of idea of what fast fashion is, right? And I feel like fast fashion is nothing new. It's not a new concept. It's not a new whatever. Because originally, fashion started off with designers. It started off with a designer producing 2 collections per season, debuting it, people placing orders, and then from there, the order gets to the people, and then it gets in the store, and then it was like a whole, people weren't probably getting new clothes for 2 times the whole year. It was like a long, from their favorite designer, it was like a long process to get clothes, or the whole fashion was a long process. But then again, back then it was more meticulous, it was more precious, it was more of an art craft, it was more thought that went into it. It wasn't for a lot of other reasons that it is for now. And I feel like fashion obviously was more catered to the upper class, the rich class people. There was no boutique for real for the average Joe, the middle lower class person. They would either have to make their own clothes, go to the store and get patterns, or XYZ, right? And I feel like as times have changed, as the society has changed, and as the need has changed, and once a lot of people realized that the older upper class weren't really as influential as they were back in the day, and the people who are the deciders of what's in or not is the young people, that's when people have decided to start catering to them. And with young people and with fashion in general, prior to social media, I would feel like things would be in fashion longer. Everything lasted longer. Music, a song lasted longer, an artist's career lasted longer. What was popular, the TV show, everything within pop culture period lasted longer. So did the clothes. And I feel like after like the 90s and we're getting into the 2000 era, I feel like that's when fashion just like started to speed up, because I feel like so many people are distracted easily, and so many people are just being it's so many things, it's so saturated. And I feel like the manufacturer just have to keep up with that. If this young person, okay, now this one is in, now this one is in, now this one is in, from their point of view, what is the point of perfectly sewing their brand, sewing the piece together, making sure it lasts for at least 20 years, just for a young person to wear for 2 seconds and throw it away? At the end of the day, it's a business. So if they spend $20 on the top and sell it for $40, and then you guys throw it away, it's still a loss on their end. So they're just making sure they're covering their behinds, essentially, while still supplying a need. I want to talk about why is there a small, because it is still, sustainability is still a small community, right? Why is this small community rebelling against fast fashion? If it's convenient, if it's affordable, if it's this. And again, they're rebelling because honestly, I think it's just something to differentiate and feel like they're better than someone else. I don't think it has nothing to do with I genuinely care about the earth. I think it's just another little I'm different and I'm better and I don't shop at Shein and I don't shop at Forever 21. I'm not like the rest of the people. I wear this vintage 2001. That's what it become, and I feel like that's what that's about. It's just who is better than who contest. I feel like I don't even hear people talk about it's for the earth and we should start implementing this and actually pulling up some statistics about it. I feel like it's not even about that anymore. It's just about who is a cool kid and who is not, right? And now sustainability and wearing this thrifted outfit is now the cool kid, when once it was not, right? Okay, so another thing that I want to talk about is, but I feel like I've already kind of dabbled with this, but it's like, who is wearing fast fashion? Really? Everyone. Everybody is wearing fast fashion because everybody basically in America cannot afford to spend double the price on a piece that will last for right? It's the same thing. That's crazy. It's the same thing as the vegan. If someone wants to go vegan, they know in their mind, they know first night in their mind, they have the money to support it. They know a cheeseburger is gonna cost them a quarter of what going and buying a precious salad or getting all the ingredients. That's gonna look at the whole food prices and then look at the Walmart price. They may want to do that, but in reality they can't afford, so they have to do the fast fashion route. And I feel like if sustainable was a lot more affordable, a lot more people would be able to actually support it. But it's not being conscious about the reality of what the world is. It's trying to be like, oh, if you really cared about it, you would spend an extra dollar. You spend an extra dollar on designer. Okay, because designer is going to get in a status and they're going to take it to the next level. We already know that. That's the game. So what is the sustainable going to give to this person other than a moral boost? And what is not really going to give nothing to them, so that's why they don't participate in it, to be honest. But back again, fast fashion is worn by everyone, whether you like it or not. Everyone is wearing fast fashion. That's just the reality of it. Celebrities, they may not be wearing the exact brand, or some celebrities are even wearing Fashion Nova and Shein, but it's going to be, it may be this high designer, but it's going to look like a fast fashion. It's going to still look like a Zara. It's still going to look like an H&M, right? And I feel like fast fashion obviously is still the guilty party. However, I feel like the guilty party is not the consumer. You know, they're just average Joe just trying to get a shirt to go by their business. They can't afford to spend an extra $20 on this top for it to be acceptable, right? And overall, my personal thought is, I'm obviously for sustainability, and I see the bad, but I also see can also understand why people are wearing fast fashion. So I feel like this: if you can afford to do sustainable fashion, if you can afford to spend an extra dollar on that piece, and if that's something that really is a priority to you in your life, go right ahead. But if you're a Julie and you have a regular check, a regular person, you're not on a salary job, you're 22 years old, and you just want to buy a cute top and go about your day and live your life, go buy that top. I don't care if people bully you. I don't care if people are they're just jealous. They're jealous and they're mad about something that has nothing to do with you. And they need to realize that you are just another person in the sea. You are not the actual person that's causing this problem. That's what they should be aiming their anger at, not at you. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you learned a thing or two about sustainability, and see you in my next one.